Welcome back to Connellsville, here at Connellsville Stadium, where the Central Catholic Vikings are on top at the half by the score of 42-0. And it was the Navarro-Farrat patrician show in the first half, Mike.
Yeah, Central Catholic was able to really do whatever they wanted on offense. Central Catholic took advantage of turnovers, but once they had that football, no matter who touched it, whether it be Foster, Jones, Adamitis, Totten, they all got yards. They all got yards after the catch or after the carry. They were able to move this football and score, and it almost seemed too easy for Central Catholic's offense, which has kind of had questions throughout the season. Would that be what holds them back from winning a championship? Not if they play like this today, and they've had to go longer drives than what they've seen the first few weeks. But Connellsville also moved the football. They were playing relatively well, but they just kept on turning the football over, kept on fumbling it. Central would recover and then score, and Central doing what championship teams do. They take advantage of errors by your opponent, and they're getting better and better as the season progresses.
And give Connellsville credit, too, on defense. There in the last drive that the Vikings had at the end of the half, ready to go into the end zone was Foster, and Connellsville causes a turnover themselves. So the Vikings turn it over at the end of the half, and Connellsville showed a part of their game that they can bring to the table and maybe make the second half a little bit interesting.
Yeah, and not only that, but they've showed the heart and pride they have by they haven't quit in this game in any capacity. There is an entire second half to play. They're going to forget the scoreboard, and you never know what can happen in the second half. They kept on trying to strip it. They copied off Central and tried to cause a turnover. They did. They didn't score, but they stopped Central from scoring another touchdown. And Michael Navarro has also been able to utilize even more weapons in this game than even in the past. We've seen Graham Idamitis. We've seen John Patrician with multiple highlight reel touchdown receptions as he's been the MVP of this game. Grant Foster, Brian Totten, Ronnie Jones, and Vinny Emanuel on that first touchdown drive was the key force. He's kind of been forgotten the first few weeks.
Yeah. In fact, I've forgotten about Emmanuel. But, yeah, it was all him on the first drive. You're right. And after that, we were talking off air at half here. It's been running back by committee as it has been all season, and each one has gotten their hands on the ball, has not letting the Vikings down. They've done what they had to do, inside, outside, catching the ball and running. It's as we were talking, you pull one out, you put another one in, and it's show as usual. So this Vikings showing the championship caliber that they are and what they can do with the people that they have.
And they have a lot of weapons, and Michael Navarro is using them well. And they don't even necessarily have a starting running back, but any of the four running backs could become the starting running back, and they wouldn't miss a beat. When Riley Redmond was declared ineligible in the offseason, they thought he was going to be the starter. They thought, oh, man, what are we going to do? He took over for Listabrinza for a few games when Luigi Listabrinza was injured last season. Central Catholic got even more yards from him in those games. They still won a Quad A championship. It became running by committee with the Thunder and Lightning attack they had. Riley Redmond declared ineligible, still with the team, still supporting them, and still going to school at Pittsburgh Central Catholic, but 19 years old, not able to be on the football field. And now they put in Jones, they put in Foster, they put in Totten, more of a fullback, but even got him some yards. He's been guy even all the way from the red zone, not just at the goal line they've used. And they have the muscle running backs through the middle. They have the outside flash running backs. They have John Patrician, who's a running back / wide receiver. He's your fantasy utility player. And they just have every position filled, and they have depth. I'm even expecting to see Gunnar Farrat in the second half. Supposed to be the Central starter, son of Gus Farrat. And concussion, injured, and Michael Navarro took over and became the leader of this team as the quarterback. But you could definitely get Gunnar Farrat in the second half.
Well, that's the story of the second half as far as I'm concerned for Central Catholic. Which quarterback is going to get the bulk of the play? Gunnar is coming back off the injury, as you say, the concussion. And in my opinion, I'd like to see him play the second half, get his feet back on the ground, get his feet get wet again. And Navarro, we know what he can do. He knows what he can do. The game is, as far as Central's concerned, is in hand. So I'd like to see Gunnar get the bulk of the snaps, and he's actually down here warming up with the center right now. So I think that's what's going to happen. The Vikings will get the ball to start the second half as they won the coin toss and deferred the first half.
And if I was Gunner for Rutten, I wasn't going to start the second half, I'd be mad.
Yeah.
I would be kind of furious here. You're not going to lose your starting job, though, when Central's putting up 40 points and they're scoring at will, and they have the offense that he's now put together there. So they're both juniors. It does then almost provide some unfortunate. I don't see how Gunner's ever going to start for this team because Navarro would start again next year.
Fogel puts his foot into it. It's brought in there by Jones about the 11-yard line. Jones out to the 33, spinning and turning, and a host of Falcons will bring him down. Forward progress is going to be spotted at the 33-yard line, and that's where the Vikings will start the second half in a 42-0 game.
And you're going to have this moving clock, Central Catholic with a mercy rule, but you're also going to have Central Catholic handing the football. It's going to be mostly running in this game, and we saw that at the end of the first half, they were just trying to run and hand it off, and they're still getting yards.
Patrician, Garner, and Farrat in there.
And they want to give Gunner some time with these weapons, which is why you're still seeing Johnny Patrician. But I would imagine midway through this quarter, unless somehow there's a huge comeback by Connellsville, you might lose some of those weapons too and let them rest.
Hamlin and, well, all three of the receivers out wide to the left. In motion comes Hamlin. Farrat mishandles the handoff to Hamlin coming through, and Connellsville is going to pick that fumble up. The second turnover by the Vikings, and the second time that Connellsville has picked it up. So Connellsville turning the tables on the Vikings. They have the ball at the Vikings 30-yard line, by far their best field position of the game.
And like Central Catholic, they need to capitalize and score now. Another turnover, but they need points off that turnover, and they need them now.
Brubacher under center. He has running back behind him. That gets the ball. That's DeMarco. He gets brought down after a short gain up to about the 28, 29-yard line. Call it one. We'll call it 2nd and 9. Inside run there by DeMarco. And Connellsville uses the shuttle method for bringing in the plays. In came Austin Pusker to the play to Brubacher. Brings his team up to the line under center. DeMarco in the backfield, in motion. And he hands off to DeMarco right up the middle into the backfield and down to the 26-yard line of the Vikings for a first down, Falcons. And again, that quick hitter up the middle is the big play for the Falcons.
And DeMarco, I've never seen a running back that big that also has that footwork. Always moving with his feet and carrying defenders. We saw it in the first half. We saw it countless times again there for DeMarco in the running game of Connellsville, and they now have a first down in deep in Central Territory.
DeMarco, a senior, 5'11", we talked about before, 215 pounds. He's a little VW back there in the backfield.
It might even be generous 215. He might be about 225.
Yeah, exactly. This time it's Brubacher rolling out wide to the right. He can't make the line of scrimmage. He'll be pushed out of bounds and a sack. He'll lose about 2 yards. And it'll be back to the 18-yard line? Yeah. 2nd down, 12 from the 18.
Connellsville just got to take care of the football, though. You're going to see them use the ground and pound. That's where they've had success, but they got to make sure they don't turn it over.
Flags fly as the ball snapped. There's probably motion penalty on. Nope, they're pointing toward the Vikings. Maybe somebody was set up in the zone.
Central Catholic always flirts with a penalty on defense. They kind of want to wait for the referee to catch them.
Yeah, that's what it was. Central Catholic set up in the zone, offsides. That's a free 5 yards. That'll make it 2nd and 7 from the Viking 13-yard line. Closer to the 14. We'll call it the 14. No, it's sitting on the 13. This might have changed the play. Brubacher under center. Gets his line set. Sets a runner in motion. Hands off up the middle again. This time the Vikings jam up the middle of the line. Nothing doing. No gain on the play. It'll be 3rd and 7, maybe even lost the yard back to the 14. So the Vikings trying to stiffen up here.
And they can turn that defensive switch on. We've seen them have goal line stands.
Brubacher under center. Again, in motion. Motion man gets it. It is White in the corner, and he is into the end zone for a 14-yard run. White goes round in into the end zone for Connellsville. And ladies and gentlemen, that is only the second time somebody has penetrated the zone against these Vikings.
Central Catholic only allowing the second touchdown against them all season long outside, just a sweep route, taking a defender with them and getting Connellsville on the scoreboard, stopping the shutout and getting them that first touchdown. And I got to say, in even the end of the first half, Connellsville kind of outplayed Central for about 20 minutes or so.
High kick, very high, and right through the middle to make it a 42-7 game with 7:51 remaining here in the third quarter. Connellsville on the board.
And Central Catholic, of course, I mean, they're still in comfort to win this game, but they do have a tendency to take each possession and need to be perfected. And that was not the case there, as Connellsville able to continue and hold on to the football, not turn it over, but keep on getting yards on the ground. Central Catholic next week, I'm sure in practice, is going to go yell at that defensive line and say, hey, you can't allow somebody to just run through the middle right at you and carry you up the field. That's what we're seeing from DeMarco this entire game, and Connellsville now with a touchdown off of him doing it.
And they did what they had to do, the Falcons did. Got that turnover, turned it into points. And let's see what Gunnar Farrat does this time around. And you're sure you want to get the ball back in his hands after that muffed handoff.
And he wants it in his hands. He's getting to start the second half. He was supposed to be the season starter. He had an injury. It's Michael Navarro's team now, but he wants, when he's on this field, garbage time or not, he wants to be able to get in there and show that he has some brilliance. And we've seen a completion, we've seen a first down, but we've also now seen the muff snap and the fumble.
Johnny Patrician and Jones back for the Vikings, standing around the 6-7 yard line. Fogel with the run up. He'll boot this one a low liner over toward Jones. It's going to squib all the way into the end zone, and that'll be a touchback for the Vikings, and they will get the ball 1st and 10 at their 20 and see what they can do. Trotting back out onto the field is Michael Navarro.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's a benching of Gunnar Farrat because he was responsible for the fumble, or they're just switching quarterbacks like they did in the first half.
I'm going to go with the benefit of the doubt and say that we're going to rotate the drives.
That would be a quick leash. That would be a quick leash if that was the end of his night.
Navarro under center, 2 in the backfield. It's a handoff to the halfback. He gets hit at the 20, and the whole Connellsville team piles on top. And he's going to end up with 1, maybe 2 yards there. We'll call it 1 yard, 2nd and 9. I believe that was Foster with the carry, or maybe it was Manuel. Second and 9, Navarro under center. He has Foster behind him, Totten offset. He turns and he hands it to Foster, right up the middle, not touched, all the way out to the 35, the 40-yard line, and he comes down. It's a 1st and 10. It's about a 19-yard run for Foster. 1st and 10 for the Vikings at the 40-yard line.
And just another one of those easier than it looks runs.
Yeah, he untouched until he got tackled.
Isn't that always how it is?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he didn't even get hit in the line. He went right through the middle. I formation, Navarro under center. He'll turn and he'll hand it to Foster again. Foster right through the middle again. This time 2, maybe 3 yards. Give him 4 out to the 44. 6:09 in a rolling clock. 42-7 here in the third quarter. The Vikings in control. Navarro hustles to the sideline, gets the play, and goes back to relay it to his mates.
And Central wants to keep on pouring it on because they want to be at their best and intimidate future opponents like Sayah Pine Richland. That's a team that Central got on their radar and probably the team that Central Catholic needs to beat rest on the remaining on what's on their schedule.
Handoff, quick hitter up the middle. The ball comes loose and it goes right into the hands of a Viking. Couldn't get his number. Was that Emmanuel that picked it up? Couldn't see who picked that up, but anyway, it's a large gain for the Vikings. It's 1st and 10 on the 36-yard line of the Falcons.
Yeah, I thought I saw number 20, which would be Swan.
Oh,
which would be Braxton Swan.
Is he back?
But I don't believe it is him, but that's the only number I thought I saw.
It was Emmanuel that picked that
22,
up.
okay.
Yeah.
So Vinny Emmanuel back on the broadcast.
There's a handoff to Emmanuel right up the middle, and it's close to another first down. He picks up a quick 9, maybe 10. They're going to spot him at the 27-yard line. That's a 9-yard gain. It'll be 2nd and 1 from the Falcons' 27-yard line.
And right through the middle.
Yeah, again, between the tackles.
And Connellsville's defense has been on the field just an eternity in this game. You almost got to feel sorry for them.
Totten, a lone setback behind Navarro under center. He gets the ball. Totten around the end, near side. Nice tackle there by Stephen White. Otherwise, Totten might have bowled his way into the end zone, but as it is, Totten gets the first down inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Vikings on a machine-like drive here from their own 30-yard line. Actually, 20-yard line.
And turning the clock on this drive, too.
Yeah. It's all on the ground. I formation again. Navarro under center. Gets the snap. He hands it to Foster, the deep back, and he's untouched around end to the 5. And he's into the end zone as he spins in with a tackler on him. And that makes it 48-7 as the Viking answers the Connellsville touchdown. And let's see. Oh, they're sending McZura out there.
And John Patrician still with the hold.
To the hold.
But just another sweep outside run.
Yeah, nothing fancy.
No, and these running backs for Central, nothing fancy, but they're athletes and they can do fancy, but they don't have to. This is really a blueprint on how to just overpower a team.
And the kick is up and good right through the middle. Deadeye Maxura makes it 48-7. And let's see if Connellsville has an answer.
Yeah, Connellsville had a little bit of momentum there in the second half. They were outplaying Central Catholic towards the end of the first half and beginning of this second half, getting a couple of turnovers, finally scoring points off the turnovers. And you got to say, offensively, from what Central's defense has done this year, only allowing 2 overall touchdowns, 1 being to this Connellsville offense, and all the yards they got on the ground in the first half, they weren't able to utilize because of the turnovers. The Connellsville's offense has almost had one of the better performances against the Central defense all season long. The scoreboard won't show that, but if it wasn't for the turnovers, they'd have a few touchdowns and might be right in this game.
Oh, it could be a close one. Yeah, absolutely. 3 scores off of 3 quick turnovers in the first half, and that put the separation in the game.
But again, there's a reason why Central Catholic won a Quad A championship, why every year they're a favorite to win a Quad A championship, and why this year they could win an undefeated Quad A championship.
Rocky with the run-up. Boot in the ball. Sails to the far side corner inside the 5 to about the 3-yard line. It's up the sideline. He's got a crease, and he could go. 1 man to beat, and he's pulled down right around midfield stripe. I believe that was Austin Pusker.
Right to the sidelines, too.
Oh, he went
just
straight.
It's a track meet, just a straight run.
A straight run. He didn't cut across, then make a cut and go to the sideline. He picked it up on the sideline, and right down he went 47 yards. The ball sitting right on the midfield stripe. 1st and 10 for the Falcons. Handoff, quick handoff there. Met in the backfield. And I think there's a handkerchief on the ground. Timeout, Central Catholic. They'll take their first. Timeout, Central Catholic. That's probably a good thing for Connellsville because Mr. White had the ball in the backfield and he was wrapped up with, for it would have been about a 2 or 3 yard loss.
And really, I mean, Central Catholic corrected a lot of what people were worried about offensively with that hold the team back. They corrected almost all of that throughout the season now. They're a final word machine on all facets of the football. And with the struggles of, say, at Woodland Hills, who should have lost to Bethel Park on controversy, Central Catholic just mopping the floor with Bethel Park, Upper St. Clair being a roller coaster ride. Central Catholic is the privileged favorite, and I would say it's Central Catholic 1 right now in Quad A, and a distance between 2, 3. Pine Richland would be involved. North Allegheny, not who they usually are, lesser North Allegheny than we're accustomed to. The dynasty they have is probably over.
There's a few teams I think the Vikings have to worry about, but I think right now primarily it's got to be the Rams up there in Pine Richland. Right now they're playing some good football.
And long as they don't get the nerves, because Central Catholic historically is always used to being in this situation, Pine Richland not.
Handoff off the right side. It's going to pick up a 1, maybe 2 yards. 1 yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
You already see, though, the smack being talked on Twitter and by the fans of both schools, saying that they have the wide receivers that deal with Central Catholic's corners. They won't be able to play man-to-man against their wideouts. Best wide receiver core in the country, best linebackers in the country. All they keep on saying, they'll be able to get to prove it.
That's why they have to play the game. That's what's the fun thing about this game. There's a quick hitter up the middle again, in between the tackles. Nothing doing. Hit right at the line of scrimmage. And it'll be 3rd and 9. And that quick hitter was working, and now Central Catholic is clogging that middle up, and it's not really.
They finally adjusted.
Yeah.
In the late of the game.
They're plugging it up with the backers. Brubacher. Everybody bunched up except for a wide out to the right. He's going to pass it to him in a little slant pattern, and right at the down marker. Pass completed there to Griffin Thompson. It's incomplete. He dropped the ball. He had it in his hands, Mike.
He did, and dropped it just on the tackle.
Right.
It almost appeared like it could have been a fumble, too. But no, it's not a fumble. It just
rolled incomplete.
An incompletion.
Brings up 4th and 9 from the Viking 49-yard line. Back is Jones again. Quickly, some Vikings shuffle in. Looks like back to punt, Austin Pusker. It is. And he's going to pull. Wow, this is a spiral all the way down to the 12-yard line. Jones picks up, gives a little juke, and he's got the outside across the 30 to 40, 45, and he's out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Nice return there all the way from the 12. And the Vikings will start their drive up near midfield at their own 45-yard line.
Ryan Jones, just like John Patrician, you're just never sure if he's going to break it.
Well, he came up to the line of defenders, and he just stood there and gave the shoulder head juke, and that way he went to the outside, and he was gone. This time, Gunnar Farad under center, rotating series. I formation again. The ball is on the deck.
There's the beanbag for the fumble. We've seen that frequently in this game.
I believe Farad jumped on it. He did. That's a loss of 1.
And you don't want to see him lose another fumble. He's already responsible for 1 lost fumble since starting this second half.
So it's 2nd and 11. And that'll be the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. Central Catholic 49 and Connellsville 7. So Farad in charge now. Let's if you're a Viking fan, you got to be saying, come on, Gunner, let's get it together. Nice drive, get it down the field, and get back into the rhythm, because, boy, it would sure be nice going down into these stretch of tough games that they're coming up again on to have both these quarterbacks hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah, it would be. And you have two starting quarterbacks because Gunner was supposed to be the starter and Michael Navarro's become the starter. And with Gunner Farad, he has the lineage with what Gus Farad has done in the NFL. So maybe give him some mentoring there outside of practice and outside of games. But Gunner Farad is somebody that you just got to root for after having the concussion in week 1. He's definitely going to get the fan support as someone to root for emotionally.
The Vikings, led by Farad, out to the field as they switch sides. The Vikings headed right to left on your computer dial.
Connellsville was a better team in that third quarter, though. They moved the ball. They got that touchdown.
Oh, yeah. Farad under center in the I formation. Wides splits to the either side. Farad reaches back, hands it off. In the backfield, the tailback, there's a flag on the play. But David Marshall with the carry brings it all the way into Connellsville territory to around the 34, 35-yard line. But let's see what the flag is all about. Being told it could be illegal formation. Illegal formation. Not enough guys on the line. So that play's coming back, unfortunately, for Marshall. Nice run. David going off tackle, and he just broke that one and just wouldn't be denied.
Yeah, and even more weapons for Central Catholic that they use out of their arsenal, but another one of those comes back. Central Catholic yards they've had that ended up with a penalty and coming back have been already impressive enough. They probably had 100 yards that ended up coming back.
Marshall, I see a bunch of second stringers in there for Central Catholic. Marshall was a sophomore, 5'8", 184 pounds.
Yeah, there's a bright future for the Central Catholic team.
Farad under center, I formation. He turns and he hands it off. Again, it looks like Marshall again, right up the middle, and he gets pulled down at the Connellsville 44-yard line. It's going to be a first down. David Marshall gets a second try, and he makes certain that this one works. 11-yard, actually 16-yard pickup. First and 10 for the Vikings, back in Connellsville territory. Marshall dotting the I. Farad under center. Wide outs to either side. Farad turns around, hands it off. And met behind the line at the 45. Bryson Gunner with the carry. I'm sorry, that was 35, so that was 24. That was Bradley Meyer with the carry.
Central Catholic now to the other side of the field on the outside run.
Meyer dotting the I. Offset I. Farad under center. 2nd and 11. Takes a snap and he hands it off. One more time, it's Meyer. Around the left side. Cuts it back toward the middle. And he gets smacked at the 30-yard line. Brought down. Another first down for the Vikings. A 12-yard gain. 1st and 10 Vikings at the 30.
Central Catholic wants to be able to put the exclamation point on this game. They have the lead that they have, but they don't want to have Connellsville scoring and Connellsville breaking the defense and coming back in the game, even if that's how they still win it. Central Catholic wants to say, hey, we're the almighty Central Catholic, and here's why.
Farad under center. Hands it back to Marshall. Marshall up the middle. Hit right at the line of scrimmage. Ball comes loose once more. Inside the 30, they're marking it. Let's see who's got it. And it looks like Marshall came back up with it.
Yeah, Connellsville not even arguing.
So fumbled the ball. He picks up 2. Call it 2nd and 8.
That's one of those where he didn't get this, but there's one of those where you run the ball, you fumble the ball, you pick it up, and then you gain more yards.
Exactly. Meyer back into the game. Farrat hands it to him. Jukes around one, nowhere to go. He's brought down at the 30. That's a loss of 2. Back to the original line of scrimmage, and it'll be 3rd and 10.
Do we see Gunnar Farrat try to air it out at all? We haven't seen the gun in him yet.
No.
And the score the way it is not going to dictate too much throwing. You don't want to rub it into your opponent, but he does have that cannon, or he was advertised to have one.
They marked the ball at the 31, so it's 3rd and 11. And he'll keep the ball and roll it to the left side, around end. He's up to the 30, inside or up to the 20, inside to about the 18-yard line, where they rolled out of bounds. That should be enough for a first down. They mark him at the 17. Nice play by Gunnar Farrat. He faked the handoff to Meyer, who was going to the right. He pulled out, went to the left, around end, and picked up the first down. 1st and 10 Vikings.
And that's a design run play, too. Called his own numbers. That was always going to be for the quarterback.
Farrat under center. Hands it to Meyer. Meyer in between the tackles. He'll run it up inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. Picks up 9. It'll be, say, 8. 2nd and 2. Quick hitter to the fullback, who is Schneider, getting a call. He runs it up in there, gets it down to about the 4-yard line.
But more positive yards from even more of a depth chart. Central Catholic's depth chart just keeps increasing and increasing every week.
Schneider's still in there at fullback. He's listed as a lineman, offensive, defensive lineman. We're in number 65 in the backfield. Had the last run. This time they hand it off, and it's into the end zone. That's going to be Jacob McKee. Junior runs it in from 4 yards out. Put 6 more on the board for the Vikings, making it 55-7.
And there's a touchdown led by Gunnar Farrat's B team here for Pittsburgh Central Catholic. Another one to put on the board and another one on the ground for the Vikings.
They line up for the point after. And they pop that one through. And with 6:09 remaining in the contest, it is 56-7 with the Vikings in charge.
And another one of those, just like it was last week. Central Catholic showed up here, and they got a game where they were able to rest players. It was a long distance travel, going an hour plus here to Connellsville area. And as you said, it's really all about Pine Richland and a couple games left on Central's schedule. They've taken care of business so far this year. They're the prohibited favorite based on what other teams are doing. They've been able to really intimidate and get the scores other teams were desiring throughout this season. The defending champion, they're undefeated, the best defense in Quad A, and now an offense that can score. It's all going to be for that Pine Richland game. And it's going to be probably a battle between the wide receivers and the corners. Central secondary teams have not been able to throw against them. They had a little bit of success running, but Pine Richland said they're going to try to throw. Can they throw against Central secondary? If not, Central defense is going to help, and then Central's going to score a few points. 21 points might be enough. More of an offense from Central Catholic than even Pine Richland from what we're seeing the last few weeks, but you also have taken account the opponents, and Central has been the heavy favorites in these games.
Sophomore Ben DiSabato with the kick. He comes in, he kicks it down to the 15. Taken there by Austin Pusker. He gets it out to about the 27, 28-yard line.
What you really could get maybe from that Pine Richland game, which we're expecting to be a classic, is maybe another rival for Central Catholic, because they used to have Woodland Hills be the rival when I was in high school there, and then upwards to the mid to late 2000s. That was the rival with Steve Breston, and when Central really became one of the big boys. Rivalry with North Allegheny has been more recently because both teams trading off championships and state championship appearances, and Art Walker being a former Central coach. But now with North Allegheny fading, maybe for just a year or so, but somebody besides them, because now they don't play Woodland Hills anymore.
Quick hitter up the middle, and the entire Viking team stops him at the line of scrimmage. Just a short gain there. We'll call it 2nd and a long 9. And those of you who've been faithfully listening to your Vikings Pirate update, that they're tied with the Reds. What did they say, the 5th inning? 6th inning. 1-1.
And last time we checked, I believe Pine Richland was beating North Hills.
Yes. There's a runner trying to get around in is Brubacher, and he gets hit behind the line. It's going to lose about 3 yards. Call it 3rd and 12.
That student section, though, for Connellsville.
They're still going.
They're still rocking. We saw some beach balls over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the tropical theme when I was walking into the stadium tonight. So
we've seen an American theme with it being near September 11th. We from
the neon
North Allegheny, the neon theme by Fox Chapel.
Handoff here to the far side. It's Stash around the left side. He gets it back up to close to the original line of scrimmage, maybe a yard past that. We'll call it 4th and 9 at the 30-yard line. And back for the punt for the Vikings is number 43, Tyler Jones, the 5'10 sophomore.
And with about 3:40 remaining in this game, Central Catholic, I'm sure, hoping to retain the football and use the rest of the clock and win this game on the ground.
Folger with the kick. Jones fields it at his 37-yard line and quickly spun down. Nice tackle there, open field tackle by Timothy Bish.
Well, it gives Central Catholic more of the field to work with, though, so maybe more likely to use all 3 minutes on the clock.
Exactly 3:17, 56-7's your score.
Back-to-back weeks, 50-plus points for Central Catholic, and it's been even more thanks to the offense than the defense.
Yeah,
the defense allowing 2 touchdowns, this offense having to drive more of the field. There were turnovers, but still having to go 60, 70 yards on these drives, no longer starting at the 4-yard line of opponent's territory.
New quarterback for the Vikings as he hands off to J.J. Younger. Picks up about 5 yards. The new quarterback for the Vikings is Eddie. I can never say his name, Mike.
Give it a shot.
Perfect. I've practiced it and I just can't. It's none of those names I just can't say.
We all have our weaknesses.
I apologize, Eddie. I was just praying you wouldn't come in just for that reason. Quick handoff there one more time to Younger, and he's going to be up close to a 1st down.
And now they're just resting Michael Navarro and Gunnar Farad.
Yeah.
But Michael Navarro especially, he's going to be the starter of the team. The winter championship is going to be because of him. You just really got to love what you've seen the last couple of weeks. We say he's become the leader of the team, but the reason he's able to now take drives, this offense has been catered to him. It's more of a short passing West Coast offense field than what it was going to be with Gunnar Farad, but maybe this is better for what Central Catholic does.
It's 3rd and 9. Quick hitter there up the middle. He gets the 1st down and drags the Falcon team with him for another 5 yards. Call it 6 more yards. He's into Falcon territory at the 47-yard line, 1st and 10 Vikings.
There's another line shift for the hockey line shift for Central Catholic and their offense. And we saw some pushing and shoving there, too, after the play. This has been mostly a very clean game, a lot of respect in this game, not rivals at all, being so far distant and not playing each other every year. So you're not going to get too much bad blood.
Approaching 1 minute mark. And right now, Central Catholic, they're running down the clock. They're looking over at the side judge, the back judge, rather. He puts his hand up, 5 seconds left. Now he'll make the snap, and he'll take a knee. So with under a minute to go, or 52 seconds and running, that probably one more play, they'll take a knee.
They're going to need one more knee.
Yeah. So it'll be second down and actually should be 11, maybe 12. Once again, he'll look over at the back judge, wait for him to put his hand up. Clock's down to 26. Oh, he'll take a knee. Oh, he took a knee when he knew 25-second clock would run out.
Game over.
Game's over. It's not officially yet. Another 15 ticks, but the teams are lining up for that handshake. The Vikings are going to walk away with another win, a resounding win again, 56-7 over the Connellsville Falcons, and the Vikings extend their record to 5-0. Connellsville will drop to 2-3, and the Vikings march continues, Mike.
Vikings rolled on to another win, another destruction, really, of their opponent, where Central Catholic on 3 phases of the football: field position, defense, and now offense. The offense has joined the party, where you're seeing Michael Navarro and company using all of his weapons, a smorgasbord of weapons, with Ronnie Jones, Grant Foster, Graham Adamitis, just so much to deal with, and Johnny Football, who I can't believe I put in there last, but the explosiveness, the athleticism of Central Catholic, and their offense is now just as intimidating as their defense. Defense allows a touchdown, but in garbage time, and they use the turnovers. They score off the turnovers. They have to go the whole field, though, and just like last week against Fox Chapel, Central Catholic is a heavy favorite, but they win as a heavy favorite. They take care of business. They get their players rest. And now they go into the meat of that schedule, Pine Richland being one of those opponents, a couple games to circle, and they are, based on what we've seen all of Quad A, what we've seen in the WPIAL from other teams, and what we now again see from Central Catholic on that scoreboard. Central Catholic is the prohibited favorite to return and defend and be the undisputed Quad A champion again. Another undefeated season so far for Pittsburgh Central Catholic. They have the pressure, championship or bust, but they are right now the undisputed champion of Quad A, and I don't see anything that's really going to derail the Central Catholic Vikings.
The next 3 weeks are going to be the tough part of their schedule, and they get past those unscathed, and it's like Katie bar the door. It's this Viking team is just like they're unstoppable. They just get the momentum going, and you can't stop them. And like you said, Mike, in all facets of the game, the defense, their reputation and their game on the defensive side of the ball precedes them. That goes without said. And the big question was the offense. And the last 2 games, they're proven that they can move the ball consistently through the air, on the ground. How do you stop this team? The team that figures that out, I'm going to shake their hand because it's going to be a feat.
And the team that figures it out might be on the other side of this state, like it was last year. Yeah. And honestly, from what I've seen, and I didn't call all their games last year, but I called a few of them, maybe this is a better Central Catholic team than even the Quad A champion that 2013 was, with more of the stars of J.J. Constantino at Florida State and Luigi Listabrinza and Riley Redmond. They were the more name recognition players on paper, but this team may be deeper. There's more talent. You do have John Patrician, who might play D1 ball, but maybe they don't have as much superstars, but still just as good, if not better. And they're even gearing up for 2016's graduating class, 2015 graduating class. This is not going to be just a temporary championship. They could be a dynasty, and really that is the truth. And you go Central Catholic undefeated, the favorite this year as a champion, and maybe they do still have a little bit of motivation. They're not just trying for another Quad A championship like last year for back-to-back. They want a state crown.
Yeah,
they have undefeated state championship seasons. My senior year of high school was one of them. They have teams that have went through an entire season west and east in Pennsylvania and go undefeated to win a title. They feel this team is right with them and just as good. And if they're going to be remembered as that, they cannot just win a Quad A WPIAL championship. They have to win a Pennsylvania state championship in the PIAA. They did not last year. They really got kind of embarrassed in that championship game, and that has, I'm sure, got under their craw this season. They want to be more intimidating. They want another WPIAL championship, and then they want even more and a state championship and title.
Well, I agree, Mike. It's like anything less than the state crown is going to be unacceptable for this Viking team right now. And the upcoming weeks here, so hope to see you out there. And you can always listen to us here on Champs. But next Friday, they take on the North Hills Indians at Highmark Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Then the following week, they go up to Seneca Valley. The 17th, Pine Richland back at Highmark Stadium, and that's one that you want to circle on your calendar. That's going to be the big game as far as I'm concerned. That's the one I can't wait for. And then the final week of the season is the 24th, and that's going to be up in Butler, and that'll close down the regular season. But
and you really have like almost a warm-up game there. No disrespect to Buffalo, but Butler before you go into the playoffs. They're not yet in Buffalo. They're going I-79 north, but not yet in Buffalo. If you keep on driving, you get to Buffalo. You sleep at the wheel, you'll be in Buffalo.
Yeah.
When it starts snowing, you'll notice a difference in climate.
It's time to turn around and come back.
But North Hills, that's not a gimme game. There's no Cupcake City on this game. Seneca Valley played with them the first half of last year. You're going to be a favorite in all these games, but Pine Richland is that game to circle, the game you don't know, and they're probably the second best team in Quad A this season under Central Catholic. So they're the favorite. They're the defending champion. They're undisputed champion. I see look in the mirror is probably why they would not be Quad A champion again if they aren't. But it's not just that. They want to be a state champion. They weren't last year. They've been in the past. These players want to be remembered with those teams, and you got to be a state champion to be there when you're on Pittsburgh Central Catholic.
Well, that'll just about do it here from Connellsville Stadium, where the Central Catholic Vikings have taken down the Falcons by the score of 56-7 here tonight. And outstanding performances by all the Vikings. The Highmark thing for me was
the Highmark Stadium is that home?
Yeah,
is that
there you go.
Okay,
yeah, there you go.
Okay, was that intentional or not?
Yeah, was Gunnar Farrat returning to the lineup tonight? That's a big issue for the Vikings. That they can have Farrat and Navarro ready for the playoffs. How do you defend this team with those two guys? And then if I'm not sure the status of Swan if he comes back on a wide receiver, but right now
they don't even need him. They honestly do not even need him. And John Patrician, who now that's my key, he now seems to be healthy. Almost didn't play last week because of the injury. Now is also taking the holds for extra points, so he's 100%. A highlight reel touchdown there at the corner of the end zone. That's when you send the colleges for recruiting. One-on-one. A sailing football right in the breadbasket by Michael Navarro, jumps there, the highest point, catches it, highlight reel touchdown. It's going to go on his recruiting tape, and there's more of those every week. And if you don't even want to be a Pittsburgh Central Catholic fan and you want to be a hater to them, come watch Johnny Patrician play football at the very least.
His 50-yard touchdown catch was a fun one to watch, too. It was a swing pass. It was maybe 10 yards up the field, and the rest of it was him right down the sidelines. Walking in. I mean, he walked in from the 20-yard line. There was nobody around him. So
that's why I'm more impressed with the other one.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of defense.
Yeah. So, all right, that'll do it for us here at Champ Sports Network. I'm Al Lesh, and alongside Mike Oste. Hope you enjoyed it. The Vikings win again, 56-7 over the Connellsville Falcons. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week from Highmark Stadium, where the Vikings will take on the North Hills Indians.